Number 11, Lloyd's values the canal's westbound traffic at roughly US 5.1 billion per day, eastbound traffic at around US 4.5 billion per day. The effect on the global supply chain due to the incident will also result in insurance claims. The claims will not come only from cargo on board the Ever Given, but from cargoes on ships which voyage will be delayed due to inability to transit canal. And so by doing what we did, these many ships faced the difficult choices in waiting, as the alternative route through the Cape of Good Hope was a longer and costlier voyage. Overall, DJT, with his advisors in our particular group, were able to collaborate with other highly operational nation states loyal to humanity and cause enough of a disruption that we now have the cabal's full attention. Now, I read through this before we came in. I came in. And I've got an audio. Again, I got some other stuff I would probably just let you hear or see, but I gotta look at this stuff first. Sometimes it's up to me to discern what that I can show, and I find that somewhat disconcerting because I don't want to do anything that doesn't serve the mission, serve the purpose. But I seem to get some latitude to use my own discernment, I've been told. But you know, one of the things that I was sent was basically a visual, the evolution of container ships, and it's astonishing. From 1968, a container ship, Encounter Bay, as it progressively grew to where it is today, 2020, the HM Algeciras. You're going from 1,530 TEU. I don't know what TEU. I didn't have a chance to research that measurement, but from 1,530 of those to 23,964 of those. And if you actually were able to see what this looks like, in some degree, you can see over the course of these years the size of what this is, and it's pretty astonishing. I also have another photo of the ship Evergreen while this operation is being conducted. There again, it's in a canal. It's massively loaded with these containers. Is this something I can show you? I don't know. I really don't, so I won't, just to be safe. And it's uneventful. I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't see anybody that's, boarded the ship, any assets. I don't see any of that stuff. I just see from a bit of a distance. Here's a picture of the whole ship. In the background is, land. But so here's why I want to bring this up. The simple fact is this, folks. When I've said this before, that the Patriots are in control, what does that mean? What does that mean? What it means is that if DJT is still in play here in any way, shape, or form, especially this operation, there are things that are going on behind the scenes. That's not even debatable. I mean, we see enough we can piece together, but when you start getting some like really, really hard intel here, like this stuff, and you look at it for what it is, then you start to piece things together to give you the inclination that what I've been saying for a while is right. I've said for a period of time, man, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know the progress or the progression of what's happening here. Some people have different viewpoints, that there's no controls in place, that we're screwed, or, we're playing, that we're just sitting back, allowing the other side to do what they're doing to humanity. And, somewhere somebody's going to step in and save us. And then the other side that believes it's all being played out. In my opinion, I believe it's both. I believe there are controls that are happening here because the Patriots, including Trump and the military, are conducting operations, maybe interdiction type operations around the world, certainly exposure operations around the world to allow people to see for their own eyes what the hell's going on in this world, in the United States. Same thing. I'm in full agreement. I've heard people say, this is bullshit. People are losing their jobs. They should be coming out right now, taking everybody down, et cetera, et cetera. So that being said, I'm being sort of, I wouldn't say measured, but, being on the radio is a little bit different than when you're just rolling live. So I can, certainly behave a different way. But I certainly believe that there's both of these things going on. I don't believe, what's humanity ready for here, folks? Are they ready for, is humanity ready for non-terrestrial life to be presented? It's only 5 to 7 years ago, if you talked about UFO stuff or non-terrestrials, period, let alone interaction with humanity, you were a lunatic. You were a tinfoil hat guy, right? You heard me talk on this show before about a photograph of an Anunnaki, which I've learned little from David Wilcock and other people talking about the Anunnaki, basically a malevolent race of beings. And I described one that I was provided a picture of. It was sitting at some type at a round table at an event with Recep Erdogan. And I was shocked by it because this is a much bigger being than we are, symmetrically proportioned properly, just like, as we are. But I can tell you, this was a much bigger being. And this was, this woman has an elongated skull, very thick black hair, and looked Asian, very attractive Asian looking, woman, being, whatever. Lady, girl, Amazon, as we might define that in our human sense, but very, I thought quite beautiful, actually. Had a protruding subcranial ridge that makes mine look like there is none. Very big. And so I saw that, and then I also learned that race they're not all malevolent. And I was like, and so there's a benevolent, whether it's a faction, or whatever. I found that pretty interesting. Now, I'm a pretty open-minded guy. I really always have been. It's like, I believe if you can believe there's a God and our God is great, anything's possible. I never put limitations on what God may create. Some people get boxed in these parameters of their belief system, and they don't believe anything outside of what they've been fed for information. Most people think that their beliefs are truths. No. Most people's beliefs are simply what they were fed, programmed with by their parents, by their school teachers, by whoever was around them growing up. It's like people talk about, my beliefs. Most people their beliefs aren't their beliefs. They're just programs put in their heads and they choose to believe. I was never good at that. It's like, I want to, how can I guarantee this? How can I be sure of this? So I did a lot of years of research on my own because I'm just naturally curious. Like what's the real truth here? Most people have these beliefs. They call them, they think they're their truths or beliefs. No, these are just programs. You were given a program. Your parents how do you think somebody wakes up one day as a Palestinian that's 18 years old and thinks they need to kill every, Goy, infidel, Jew, American, whatever? Did they wake up that way? Of course not. Look how many pictures they've got these bandanas on. They're like 4 years old holding AKs, getting their families are taking pictures of them. What do you think the kids are going to believe? Their truth is that Jews are bad. That doesn't mean that they're not. There's a lot of them that are. They're the Khazarian mafia. They never were Jewish. They're Khazarians. They adopted Judaism because the king of Russia was going to invade their country 16 or 1400 years ago. Invade their country because they were Satanist murderers and they would kill people and assume their identities on the trade routes and all that kind of stuff. And I've gone through this before. And so they just infiltrated every country that they're going to do business in and basically kill humanity. And many of these who are quote unquote Jews aren't Jews at all. Judaics, they just adopted Judaism out of one of three choices: Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. And so they adopted it by force, still used their satanic cover, inverted everything, and they still wove in there the child satanic ritual abuse, murder, all that kind of stuff, infiltrating Europe, central banks, royal families, killed them off, took over their role names, whatever, and that's how you end up with the Windsor family, the Queen of England, all that bullshit that are just frauds. They're not even in Buckingham Palace anymore. All this stuff's going away, going down. So So these you know, these Khazarians are, you know, they're not even Jewish. In fact, you find out that as that, you know, continue to emerge over time, you find out that, and this is the one that probably gets my head lopped off by some of my Jewish friends. I got a lot of, I love them, but simple fact is, what's truth? 3% of the Jewish population has the ancient Hebrew DNA, right? Genetic research has shown that 80% of the Palestinian population has the ancient Hebrew DNA. Who's the real Semites and who the anti-Semites? I don't know. You ask me, or you know, you ask yourself, right? You tell me. No, you ask me. you tell me. So that's the problem of the world. It's all bullshit. So much is it's so much bullshit. Everything is bullshit they taught us. So if they're lying about all this other stuff, what else are they lying about and for what reason? They're hiding. They're hiding.